how some of your favorite chocolate bars got their names. First up, Snickers. In addition to being fabulously wealthy chocolatiers, Frank and Ethel Mars owned a farm in Tennessee that bred racehorses, and Ethel's favorite horse was one named Snickers. Frank decided that as a treat for his wife, he would name his next candy bar after her favorite racehorse. Sadly, the horse didn't get the chance to see any of its namesake products. It passed away just a few months before the product launched. Now, in addition to being tied to horse racing, the company has always tried to tie the product to various kinds of sports. Partially this was because of the peanuts, because they said that this candy bar would fill you up and give you lots of energy. In Europe, the same candy bar was launched as the Marathon Bar, and later it went on to become a sponsor of the Olympics, twice. Next up, Ritter Sport. What sports does it do? It does no sports. Founded by married couple Alfred and Clara Ritter, the Ritter Company had been producing chocolate for a couple of decades before the sports bar came out. Clara had the idea to create a bar that would fit perfectly inside the pocket of a sports coat, hence the name. It was supposed to weigh exactly the same as a regular bar, but not break or melt during the day's activities, so it had to be a lot thicker and slimmer in profile. Next up, KitKats. Now the word KitKat has a lot of potential origins. The oldest is from the 1690s, when a group of literary-minded people used to meet in a pie shop in London. Very British. That pie shop was run by a man named Christopher Catling, or Kit Kat for short. He specialized in meat pies, and those pies were eventually called KitKats. The phrase also saw a resurgence in the jazz age, particularly in London. There was a Kit Kat nightclub, there was a Kit Kat jazz band. Everything was either Kit Kat this or Kit Kat that. It was just a really cool, trendy term for the time. Founder Joseph Rowntree's wife was a member of the Kappa Alpha Theta Society. Now, according to legend, they had a phrase that they used to sign each other notes with, which was "Keep in touch, Kappa Alpha Theta," or KITKAT, Kit Kat. So, which one is the actual origin for the name of the candy bar? Well, possibly all three. And actually, the whole "Gimme a Break" slogan didn't come out until several decades after it launched. See, original Kit Kats did not have that signature snap, and they didn't get it until the late 1950s when changes in manufacturing firmed up the chocolate. Now, they had already had a long-running campaign of trying to get people to take a tea break with Kit Kats, so the new snapping sound worked in perfectly for a brand new slogan. Next up, Milky Way. When I was little, I always just assumed that the Mars Company must really like astronomy because, obviously, Mars bars and Milky Way bars, but turns out it has nothing to do with that. Milky Way bars take their name not from the big giant thing in the sky, but from malted milk. It was a super popular flavor starting from the mid-1880s and going all the way through about the mid-20th century. It was frequently used in milkshakes and sundaes, and the company thought maybe we can get people to buy candy bars if they think they'll taste like milkshakes. In fact, the earliest ads advertised that the candy bar had more malted milk than a soda fountain double malted milk. As to the dark chocolate version, well, that came around earlier than you'd probably think. Only a few years after the launch of the original candy bar, they created a second candy bar which was made with dark chocolate and vanilla nougat alongside the caramel. They packaged them together for a few years before spinning off the dark chocolate bar into one that they termed Forever Yours. To me, it sounds a little bit too mushy and romantic, but hey, the name lasted for more than 40 years. It was pulled down and then brought back, and then the name was changed, but it's the same basic candy bar that you know today as Milky Way Midnight. Next up, Baby Ruth. Now, as the company has said many times in just about every single publicity campaign or interview, the bar was not named after famous baseball player Babe Ruth. Instead, it was named after the daughter of President Grover Cleveland. Does that sound like a lie to you? Yeah, that's because it probably is. By the time the candy bar was launched in the 1920s, Ruth was not only no longer a baby, she was no longer alive. She had died from diphtheria 17 years earlier than that. She also hadn't been a particularly big public figure before. Her parents very closely guarded any images of her to try to keep her away from the press. The likelihood that she had any impact on anybody in this company is almost zero. However, baseball player Babe Ruth had never been hotter. Every American knew his name. He was on newspaper covers and magazine covers all across the country. Anybody who could tie their product into Babe Ruth would almost certainly make a profit. Babe Ruth saw what they were doing, and he decided he wanted to get in on that action too. He launched his own candy called Ruth's Home Run Candy, and came with a slogan underneath that said Babe Ruth's Own Candy. And then the Curtis Company, manufacturers of Baby Ruth, decided to sue him even though it was already his nickname. It's absolutely insane to me. If somebody's gonna let you get away with using a product that's so clearly based on their nickname, why would you try to antagonize that person? And then, in an even more bonkers twist, the courts ruled in favor of the Curtis Company. In 1931, the patents courts ruled that Babe Ruth was just trying to take advantage of this candy bar and its similarity to his name. Therefore, his candy bar was terminated, and Baby Ruth got to keep going. And just to rub salt in the wound, the candy company decided to strengthen their ties to baseball. In 1932, they put up a giant illuminated billboard right behind Wrigley Stadium so it would be visible from the stands, and later they became the official candy bar of Major League Baseball. You gotta admire the guts. 3 Musketeers! When I was little, this one was one of my favorites. If you've ever wondered what the connection is between a candy bar made in America and the literary classic by Alexander Dumas, you're not alone. The name made more sense back when the product was launched in the 1930s. Not only did the wrapper feature an image of the 3 Musketeers from the book, but there were actually 3 separate candy bars all packaged up together. The nougat inside came in 3 different flavors: 1 strawberry, 1 vanilla, and 1 chocolate, all of which were individually coated with chocolate. The candy bar went for the same price as most of the other candy bars on the market, which meant that you could share it out with friends or just keep it to yourself and enjoy the variety without having to splurge. I mean, I guess you could make an argument for the parallel bar since, it's in rows. Oh hey, 4 square, because it's a square bar and it's 4 by 4 rows. I am so good at jokes.